In today's class, we'll see about soil stabilization with fly ash, bitumen and calcium chloride. We have already seen how the soil will be stabilized when we are using cement or lime, or when you are using grouting methods, or else when you are using freezing and heating methods. So today we'll just add this fly ash, bitumen and calcium chloride to the soil in order to stabilize it. So under what conditions we need to add these elements, and what will be the modification that we bring about in the soil when these particular elements are added. So how we go about all this, we'll just see in the today's class. So first we'll take up soil modification by fly ash. We already know the component fly ash, and we already know that fly ash is being used in construction in various ways. So in order to decrease the quantity of cement, in order to increase the binding capacity, or else in order to see that on the whole the volume of cement is reduced considerably, we are using this fly ash. So now we'll see how this fly ash is being added, why it is being added. Soil modification by fly ash. Because of its cementitious properties, fly ash can dry down wet soils and increase the strength of each fill layer. It works best in sandy or silty soils, but can be very effective in lean clays soils as well as clay soils. So here he gives you a condition that this particular thing is being used, this particular fly ash is being used mainly because of its cementitious property. See, we are using fly ash in construction only to decrease the volume or the quantity of cement. It means that fly ash has got some binding strength. So here when you are using this fly ash, what is happening? The strength of the layer is increasing. How it is increasing? Because of the binding between the wet soil molecules. So in each and every layer of the soil, it tries to combine, and then it acts as a fill layer. It works best in which type of layers? Sandy, silty soils, but is very much effective when you are taking lean clays as well as clayey soils. So this is the main use of fly ash. Fly ash is being used because of cementitious properties. It binds the soil molecules together, mainly the wet soil, so that you need not add again the water. You can just try to combine these wet soils and then make it act as a single layer. So that is the main thing of fly ash. So let us go through what is fly ash, how it is added. Fly ash has been used successfully in many projects to improve the strength characteristics of soils. Fly ash can be used to stabilize bases or subgrades, to stabilize backfill, to reduce lateral earth pressures, and to stabilize embankments to improve slope stability. So in what are all the cases you are using? Mainly because of its strength characteristics, it is used as subgrades as well as bases, and also it is used as a backfill material so that you can reduce your lateral earth pressure, as well as for stabilizing your embankments wherein the slope stability is important. Over there, to improve the slope stability also, we are using this fly ash. Typical stabilized soil depths are 15 to 46 centimeters, that is round about 6 to 18 inches. The primary reason fly ash is used in soil stabilization applications is to improve the compressive and shearing strength of soils. So why is it you are using this fly ash? The main reason is it can increase the compressive as well as shear strength of the soil. The compressive strength of fly ash treated soils is mainly dependent on first one, in place soil properties, delay time, moisture content at the time of compaction, and fly ash addition ratio. See, everywhere wherever the strength characteristic is considered, the strength characteristics is mainly dependent upon the soil properties, and also it is dependent on the delay time, that is the amount of time that is taken for the reaction to take place, and how much water content is being added or how much moisture is being present in the soil. So, in all these are the main factors which control the fly ash reaction with soil. So, first thing, in order to increase compressive strength and shear strength, it is used as a backfill material in earthen dams. It is used in stabilizing embankments. So, on what factors it is depending? It is depending on the soil properties, is depending on the delay time, and also it is depending on the moisture content, and also the ratio of fly ash to sand. So, these are the main things. In this slide, we will just see how much quantity of fly ash is added and on what properties this mix design, or on what this particular design depends. So, here he gives typical fly ash addition rates are 8% to 16% based on dry weight of the soil. So, it is based on the dry weight, how much? 8 to 16%. The addition rates depend on the nature of the soil, the characteristic of the fly ash, and also the strength desired. So, here how much ever amount of fly ash is being added, you can add in between 8 to 16%. If at all, if you are adding more or less, it totally depends upon the strength requirement, depending upon the nature of the soil. Now, the fly ash for State Department of Transportation projects are usually specified to meet ASTO M295, even though the requirements of this specification are not necessary for this application and may increase the fly ash supply costs. So, here fly ash usage, it depends upon, or it has to meet ASTO M295 configuration. If at all it is not necessary, but it has been made as a necessary, and because of this the ash supply costs also is increasing. Increasingly, non-ASTO M295 compliant materials are being successfully used. It should be noted that virtually any fly ash that has at least some self-cementitious properties can be engineered to perform in transportation projects. So, here he gives, it is not only ASTO 295 material, even which is not compliant to that also it can be used. But only thing is you need to see that it has got enough of the cementitious properties so that it can perform well in your transportation projects. ASTO M295 means it is related to your mainly construction of road projects. So, over there it should be able to help you in the construction. How it is going to have, it should have cementitious properties, the binding property should be good. So, generally we do not take from 8 to 16%, it is from 8 to 10% or on the maximum 12% we use that. We have different types of fly ash that are used in our normal constructions. See here, the main reason is the type of fly ash depends upon the amount of calcium it has. The plasticity soils treated with class C. This class C indicates high calcium fly ash. It is influenced by the types of clay minerals present in the soil and their adsorbed water. It is not absorbed water, adsorbed water. So, how much ever amount of calcium is present in the soil, and how it is going to be treated. It depends on that. That is, the quantity of the absorbed water molecules is also calculated, and the type of clay minerals present in the soil is also calculated or is also known, and how these two are acting together is being considered. So, soils containing more than 10% sulfates have been prone to swell excessively in some applications. So, here sulfate soils will have some swelling properties. So, if at all the soil is containing more than 10%, what is happening? The soil is swelling. So, in those type of soils also we can use fly ash for stabilization. So, high calcium fly ash can be used wherein the soil type is clay, or else if you have more than 10% of sulfates, and also we can use this for stabilizing organic soils. In addition to the speeding up of the construction process, the use of fly ash provides several other benefits, such as making the soil more resistant to additional water infiltration, provides additional support for traffic, creates a more stable work platform, and reduces dusting from construction traffic. So, here he gives many benefits of using this fly ash. The first one is it makes the construction process speedy. That is, it can speed up the construction. The workability of the concrete or the workability of your soil increases when you are using fly ash. Not only that, it is more resistant to additional water infiltration. If water infiltration is there, then if you use fly ash, it makes it a very good platform for working. It provides additional support for traffic, creates more stable work platform, and reduces dusting also in construction traffic. So, all these are the main benefits of using your fly ash. So, first one, speeding up construction process. The next one, resistant to water infiltration. Third one, additional support to traffic. Next, creation of stable work platform. And the last one is dusting from construction traffic. These are the main benefits or the advantages of using fly ash in soil stabilization. The next what we have is soil stabilization with bitumen. So, we already know bitumens. So, how this soil is stabilized with bitumen. Bituminous soil stabilization refers to the process by which a controlled amount of is thoroughly mixed with an existing soil material to form a stable base or wearing course. See here, what is that? You are taking bituminous material and you are adding to the soil molecule so that it becomes a stable course, base or wearing course. So, before we go to this soil stabilization with bitumen, nowadays we are using bitumen even as a plaster in our houses, for houses. The main reason is whenever you are taking mud and combining it with bitumen and along with grass, then this particular combination is so good that the maintenance of the building is coming down, as well as whenever you are using this composition, you are having some cooling effect. Means it is not allowing your heat to come from out into the indoors. It means that it has got a capacity, the bitumen has got a capacity in order to stop or expel water molecules. One thing, next, it has got a good capacity to bind with any other type of material. Since it is able to bind with mud itself, it means that with any of the soil molecules, it can clearly blend, it can be blended. So, here he gives, whenever you are adding any bituminous material under some controlled thing, then what is it having? It is forming a stable base or a wearing course. Bitumen increases the cohesive and load bearing capacity of the soil and renders it resistant to the action of water. So, what are the main things? The main thing is it increases the cohesive as well as load bearing capacity of the soil, as well as it is resistant to water action. So that is the main reason why we use bitumen. So here this bitumen you are using it in soil stabilization so that your work is coming down, or else you are able to stop the water from entering into your construction. So how we will be doing this, we'll see in the next slides. So now what is the main property of bituminous material? The main property of bituminous material is expulsion of water. So here bituminous material when added to soil, it imparts both cohesion as well as reduced water absorption. That is the main thing. When we are using it on pavements or anything, mainly is in order to expel out the water and in order to decrease the water absorption to the down layers of your pavement, you are using this bituminous layer. So both cohesion as well as reduced water absorption is given by your bituminous material. The next thing is, what are the different types of bituminous material we'll be using. So that before we go to that, we'll just see what are the different types of bitumens we add, what are the different types of bitumen stabilizations, we'll see. So here, what are in general the used bitumens? We have asphalt and tar. So these are the main two bitumens generally we will be using it. So here he gives asphalts and tars are bituminous materials which are used for stabilization of soil, generally for pavement construction. So here, more than in the normal constructions, you are using this in the highway construction. So here he gives asphalts and tars. These are the two bitumen materials that we know. So these are used in soil stabilization, mainly in the highway design. Bituminous materials, when added to a soil, it imparts both cohesion and reduced water absorption. So we have already seen this, that bituminous materials, when we add to the soil, it is giving both cohesion as well as reduced water absorption. Depending upon this action, the nature of the soils, bitumen stabilization is classified into 4 types. So what is it? It has been classified into 4 types. One is sand bitumen stabilization, next is soil bitumen stabilization, third one is waterproof mechanical stabilization, and the last one is oiled earth. These are the 4 types of stabilization that we do with the help of bitumen. One is when you are using it with sand, the next one when you are using it with soil, the next one is you are not allowing water resistant or waterproof to mechanical stabilization, and the last one is oiled earth. So these are the different types of stabilizations, bitumen stabilizations, that are available depending upon the type of soil and the nature of the soil with respect to water absorption and cohesion. So how they behave, depending on that we classified your bitumen stabilizations into 4 methods. Using bitumen emulsion for soil stabilization refers to the process of adding a specified amount of bitumen emulsion to the soil and mixing it appropriately to create a strong and stable base. When you say that soil stabilization is using bitumen emulsion, it means you are adding some bitumen emulsion to the soil and then mixing it properly, and you are creating a strong platform or a strong and stable platform wherein you will not be allowing the water molecules also to enter into it. So the bitumen is dispersed in water in the form of small droplets which are suspended in water by an electrostatic charge of the emulsifier. So here what is it happening when you are using a bitumen emulsion? The main thing what happens is you are creating a layer, creating a stable as well as a strong layer. Along with that, what is happening is whenever there is some water falling onto this particular layer, the water droplets, when they expel out from the surface, they carry some electric charge because of the emulsifier or because of the charge of the emulsifier. This particular concept is being used in bitumen emulsion. So the bitumen is dispersed in water in the form of small droplets which are suspended in water by an electrostatic charge of the emulsifier. So here that the bitumen, you are adding it in water, and then how is it forming? When you are adding it in water, it is suspended in water along with some charge. So you have a bitumen emulsifier. How you are making a bitumen emulsifier? You are allowing this bitumen to be dissolved in your, or else you are trying to suspend it in your emulsion. How it is in the suspended state in water, as well as there is some electrostatic charge of the emulsifier. How it is going to be in suspended state? Because of the charge of the emulsifier. So here bitumen emulsion will have an electrostatic charge. This electrostatic charge will allow the bitumen to be suspended in water. That is the main line. What is the main line? The bitumen, when you are adding it in water, when you are trying to dissolve it or else complete mixing is done, then what is it happening? It is forming small water droplets. And how are these? These are in the form of a suspension. They are suspended. Why they are suspended? Because of the electrostatic charge that is being given by the emulsifier. So that is the main concept over there. So how is that these bitumen emulsions are used, or for what type of soils do we use these bitumen emulsions? Bitumen emulsions can be used for stabilizing both cohesive as well as non-cohesive soils. However, in soils with finer grain sizes, this method may no longer be cost effective, as the soil particles require a high dose of bitumen emulsion in order to provide better level of bonding. So here he gives bitumen emulsions. When you are taking it for stabilizing both cohesive or non-cohesive layers, you can use it for stabilizing. But whenever you are using it in fine grained soils, you need to use more amount of bitumen, because of which the cost will be more. So for that reason, generally we don't prefer this with respect to cost. The quantity of bitumen emulsion will depend on the type of soil, so as to offer the desired strength to the soil base. So here the quantity, how much ever bitumen emulsion you are adding, it depends mainly on the strength that is required by the soil base. So for that reason, whenever you are using it for cohesive and non-cohesive soils, try not to use more for finer grain sizes. If you have very fine grain soils, it is not economical to use bitumen emulsions. So we have seen how the bitumen is being added and how the bitumen emulsifier will be acting. Now let us see what are the benefits of using this bitumen stabilization. So mainly over here we have already seen that bitumen emulsification, it depends upon the type of soil as well as the amount of soil. So here whenever you are considering it, bitumen emulsion is not good, or it is not recommended whenever you are taking fine grained soils, but you can use it for both cohesive as well as non-cohesive. But it is not uneconomical to be used for fine grain sizes. Now let us see what are the main benefits of this bitumen stabilization. The first and foremost use of bitumen modification or bitumen stabilization is waterproofing. Using bitumen emulsion for stabilization is slightly different from cement stabilization, as the soil particles coated with the emulsion renders it water resistant. So here the main use why you are using bitumen emulsion is, here it is having some resistance to water. When you are taking cement stabilization, it is not resistant to water, but this is resistant to water. Because of this, bitumen emulsions are being used in soil stabilization. That is the main purpose, waterproofing. First one is waterproofing. What will be the next? The next one is load bearing capacity. Soil stabilization using bitumen emulsions results into a permanent sealing of the soil structure. So what is happening? See, wherever you consider highway designing, whenever you consider this highway designing or for roads, more amount of load is acting on that particular structure, but the bitumen, whatever you are spraying, the tar is going to resist that particular load. When it is able to resist vehicular load and so many tons of loads that are coming onto it, it means that whenever you are taking this soil stabilization using this bitumen emulsion, it means it can take enormous amount of loading. The main reason over there is that any amount of rain falls, there you cannot find even a little water on the road. It means that it is sealing off the soil structure. That is the main thing. So here these are used in soil stabilization mainly in order to have a permanent sealing. This increases the load carrying capacity of the soil layers. The load distribution is 2 to 3 times higher than that of unbound foundation layers. So I said an example. In generally, other than when you have potholes, you cannot see even a drop of water when the rain falls on the highway. Why is it? Mainly because of the bitumen that you have on the top layer. So here the bitumen emulsion, when you are putting it on the top layer, what is it doing? It is just acting as a sealing coat. The sealing coat is your bitumen, the tar, or you have some bitumen emulsions whenever you need to have high quality. So here, because of this, what is happening? The load bearing capacity is increasing. How many times? 2 to 3 times higher than that of normal unbound foundation layers. So first one we had is waterproofing. The second one we have is load bearing capacity. So next, what is the next thing what we have? The next thing what we have is the flexibility. The soil layers of the roads should act as supporting layers by absorbing the stresses of the vehicles moving on the top of it and not deform under these stresses. See here, whenever you have any particular highway, what should it do? It should try to send the stresses down. It should try to send the stresses from the top layer to the base layer, whatever is there. So here that is the main thing that that particular road has to do, or the topmost layer needs to do. In order to facilitate this, the soil layer needs to be somewhat flexible so as to retain the shape and size. So mainly how it should do, whenever there is some stress being acted on it, it should sag. Once that particular stress is being sent down, again it should come back. It means that it should have some elasticity in nature whenever we are using it. So here to retain its shape as well as size, that is the main requirement of the soil layer that should be present when you are using it in pavement design. So in case of rigid structural layer, the risks of crack formation are much higher, thus increasing the risk of failure. So if you are taking rigid pavement, what will be happening? You can find some potholes after each and every rainy season. or else you can find some cracks. Because of the cracks, the material also goes on. So here the risk of failure will be more whenever you are taking rigid layers. So for that reason, we have started using emulsions. So this is a situation which calls for the use of bitumen emulsion. These are very thin flowing and can be easily mixed with the soil, which also calls for lesser bituminous binder. See, these are bitumen. When you have if you had seen tar, how is it? The tar is very thin layer. It can be easily mixed. See, this tar itself, we are using it wherever you have the construction joints also. Even when you are using your cement concrete roads also, wherever there is an extension, wherever you want a joint, an expansion joint or there you are putting just your tar. So that this is a flexible material. So here, because of the flexibility of this particular bitumen, we are using this bitumen mostly. So the three properties we had seen are: first one, waterproofing; the second one is load bearing capacity; the next one is flexibility. So the next one what we have is soil stabilization with foamed bitumen. See, bitumen, when you see, you will be just finding it as in a liquid or a semi-liquid material or semi-solid material. But here you have a foamed bitumen. What is foamed bitumen? It is nothing but there is some air entrapped. So this air entrapping will decrease the amount of bitumen that is being used. So here this foamed bitumen we are using nowadays for construction of pavements. So what will actually happen in this foamed bitumen, we'll just see. Additionally, foamed bitumen is also currently being used in industry for soil stabilization. Foamed bitumen, it is a mixture of air, water and bitumen. So what is it you are adding? Air you are adding, water you are adding, and then you are adding the bitumen. Bitumen is heated on the site, and when small quantity of water is injected into it, the hot bitumen, it expands explosively to about 15 times its original volume and forms a mist or a foam. So what is happening when you are taking bitumen, when you are combining this bitumen with water, what is happening? It is just expanding enormously. How many times it is expanding? Almost 15 times. This results into the formation of bitumen droplets with increased surface area. It has been proven that by applying foamed bitumen, it is possible to produce a semi-rigid layer of stabilized soil. So here, what is it? This has increased surface area, because of which whenever you are applying it on the surface, it forms a semi-rigid layer of stabilized soil. So for that reason, you are using this foamed bitumen not only in ground stabilization, even in the construction of pavements, because of reduction in the volume or because of the reduction in the quantity of bitumen, we are finding its use more. The next one what we have is soil stabilization with calcium chloride. Already we had seen with fly ash, and when we had been using this fly ash, we came to know about a term, or we just came to know that calcium is the main element that is required in order to do stabilization. So over here now we have soil stabilization with calcium chloride. A hygroscopic properties of calcium chloride effectively stabilizes soil through the attraction of moisture and subsequent evaporation resistance, improving compaction during construction, which in turn ensures a strong and durable base material. See, now when we were reading about fly ash or mechanical stabilization or grouting techniques, or when you had some hydraulic modifications and all, we were always totally dependent on removal of water. Here what happens, calcium chloride, when you are adding calcium chloride to the soil, what is happening, it is trying to attract the water molecules towards it. When it is attracting the water molecules towards it, what will happen, the soil gets compressed. So therefore improving compaction during construction, and also it ensures a strong and durable base material. An additional benefit of calcium chloride, particularly in cold regions, is its ability to decrease the freezing point of water, consequently providing enhanced resistance to frost heaving. So calcium chloride, what is the main thing it will be doing? Mainly it decreases the freezing point. So because of which we are finding it's used more in cold regions. Because of this, the frost heaving action is also enhanced, is also increased. Because of all these reasons, we are finding this calcium chloride usage in soil stabilization. So calcium chloride is a common chemical additive known for its ability to regulate moisture. So here it gives calcium chloride is the main element or the main chemical additive that we use in the construction fields, so that it will be regulating the moisture or the water content. This capability is derived from its hygroscopic nature, which draws moisture from the environment to produce a brine that in turn keeps the road materials moist. So here what is it? The capability of this material is to draw moisture from the atmosphere and then to create a moist environment on the road material. This is the main capability of this calcium chloride. In addition, its deliquescent property retards surface evaporation during the heat of the day by forming a hygroscopic solution which absorbs moisture until equilibrium is reached between the vapor pressure of the solution and that of the surrounding air. So what is the next condition it is doing? It is able to retain moisture even during dry climate. Until when will it retain? Until an equilibrium is reached between vapor pressure of the solution and that of the surrounding air. So until then it is going to maintain, means it doesn't allow the water to be totally lost. For these reasons, calcium chloride is most commonly used for dust suppression in unbound road surfacing, gravel roadways, applications with additional proven benefits of reduced surface aggregate loss, reduced grading maintenance, which results in annual material and maintenance savings. So here he gives calcium chloride, it is used for dust suppression, it is used for reducing surface aggregate loss as well as reduced grading maintenance. Grading maintenance is also not being required, and also it results in annual material and maintenance savings. Because when calcium chloride is used, what is happening? Dust suppression is taking place. Dust suppression is taking place as well as water retaining is taking place. There is a moist atmosphere being done on that particular road, and an equilibrium is reached in between your roadway as well as with the atmosphere it is being reached. Because of all this, there is always an equilibrium reaction which doesn't allow the dust to be present on the roads and it doesn't allow the gravel to be removed. All this will decrease your annual maintenance. Because of all this, the calcium chloride is effectively being used in pavement design. So the key benefit of use of calcium chloride is that it allows optimum aggregate interlock by penetrating into aggregate structure and coating its particles, improving compaction during construction, which is already known to provide cost saving to gravel surface roads. So what is the main thing? There is an interlocking of aggregate that is being caused because of calcium chloride. Mainly wherever you have gravel surface loads, so over here or over there, when the aggregate is being interlocked, the cost of construction comes down. You are not going to lose the gravel. So mainly because of that reason, this particular calcium chloride is finding its use mainly in the highway design. When applied to granular base or sub-base courses in a roadway, these lifts can also benefit from improved compaction, which would result in more uniform and durable base, sub-base material with higher resilient modulus. So here he gives two things. One is, whenever you have this calcium chloride applied, it is making increased, improved compaction. You are going to get more of compaction value, and also you have high resilient modulus of the sub-base material. In additional benefit of the use of calcium chloride, particularly in cold regions, it decreases freezing point of water to below the freezing index, consequently providing enhanced resistance to frost heaving in these layers. So what is happening in the other case? Mainly in the cold regions or in the frozen layers, it is going to decrease your freezing point still more. So it means that there is a frost heaving being caused, and which will keep these roads being available even for your minus degrees centigrades. For that reason, calcium chloride is mainly used in frozen areas or in very cold areas. So these are the main benefits of the use of calcium chloride. So the last slide gives you why calcium chloride is being used. One thing is annual maintenance is decreased. Next thing is compaction is more. Next thing is there is a grade control, that is, it is going to bind your grains. That is the main thing. Gravel roads, you can bind the things, so the amount of gravel lost is coming down. Because of all these reasons, calcium chloride is being used. Of all these, the most important thing is it is relatively inexpensive product to use during construction, which provides known benefits of dust mitigation, density and moisture control. Because of these three main things, that is dust mitigation, density and moisture control, calcium chloride is being used. So calcium chloride finds its use mostly in the construction because of its inexpensive nature. So with this we'll come to the conclusion of unit 5, that is stabilization, chemical stabilization using cement, lime, grouting methods, chemical stabilization using fly ash, bitumen as well as calcium chloride. Yes, so we find all these materials to be useful in ground stabilization, and the usage of the material depends mainly on the soil condition and the type of construction you would like to make on that particular thing. So just go through all the slides. If at all if you have any doubts, we can have one session purely for your doubts. So with this I'll be ending this session.